Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Graham Elwood. You are watching The Political Vigilante. I'm here with comedian and friend and Bitcoin and crypto enthusiast, Rosie Tran. We were just talking about, first of all, we were talking about how Elizabeth Warren just spewed a bunch of nonsense. And then we're talking about the significance of El Salvador making Bitcoin its legal tender. I always want to ask, I know a lot of people in the crypto space don't want to get into sort of like crystal ball, but so last time we had, obviously this last month, we've seen Elon Musk and some other people, even the Chinese government, are trying to sort of nosedive the price. We know.
I think they're doing it on purpose to buy more, actually, because China has been already proven to have the largest amount of crypto miners in the world.
Yes,
and the government owns those crypto miners.
The government owns the crypto mines. They have their own, central digital currency that they're putting out there, the digital yuan. And, they're buying more, and everyone's realizing, these countries are realizing, other than America. This is, and it needs to be, every country's going, oh my God, we should make this our reserve currency. Like this, we should be backed by this digital Bitcoin now, that when they realize what it is. But I want to talk to you because obviously we were just saying that there's already Central American countries that are talking about looking into doing what El Salvador just did. And El Salvador just passed it with a supermajority, and it will go into effect in 90 days. So by September, El Salvador is going to accept Bitcoin as legal tender, which is amazing. So how do you, because I think this manipulation, as we talked about when you were on last month, they're buying the price up, and eventually Bitcoin's going to go back up.
Yes.
How do you see the El Salvador, because that's such a piece of good news in the middle of this sort of like 3-week kind of dark cloud a little bit. And I haven't sold any. I've bought some during this dip. I haven't sold.
I would not sell. It's a long-term hold asset.
Yeah.
As volatile as it is, again, I think a lot of people got really excited and a bunch of newbies jumped in because Elon Musk was talking a lot about it, but the fundamentals haven't changed, and nothing has changed about it. And that it's a decentralized, solid, deflationary currency. So all of that, none of that has changed. And
I was even watching a show where they again, because it's on the blockchain, they can see that it was a lot of newer whales or newer
wallets
Bitcoin,
or whatever,
newer wallets buying newer coins. Like they bought in when Bitcoin was at 20, 25 grand. And when it went up to 60, they were like, oh, we're on. And then when it started to come down, they're like, I'm selling it at 35 and I'm pulling out. And the Elon Musks of the world, and probably the Chinese government and other people like that, and other big hedge funds are going, oh, good. Scare these weak hands out and we'll scoop it up, because we know there's only going to be 21 million of them. But I really want to get your take on, we've talked a little bit about it, but how do you see this now in the next, 12 months, 24, 36 months, and the next 5 years and beyond, especially like with what El Salvador just did? Where do you see not just America, but the world?
Hashtag not financial advice.
I know we're not. Neither one of us are paid financial. We're not trained financial advisors. We're just two comedians that are really into crypto,
entertainment purposes only.
But what do you think?
So I really think, I know this sounds absolutely crazy to some people, but I really see the case for $1 million Bitcoin, and $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 Ethereum, I'm very bullish on Tezos as well, because I think it's a very fast smart contract technology. And the reason I say that, so first of all, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to go to zero, crypto's going to go to zero, and everyone's going to lose all their money. That's actually impossible. And I can say that with all certainty. And the reason I can say that it's impossible is because, one, it's decentralized. So if any country bans it or something bad happens, like in China, people can use a VPN or technology to move that crypto or purchase it from a different location. So that is already never going to happen. Second of all, there's something called network effects. So it's kind of like Facebook. It's like once you get on Facebook, all of your friends on Facebook, you can't like get all of your friends off Facebook. It's harder to get people out of something than into something, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so this is a network effect. And so everyone that watches this podcast is going to be informed and get, maybe one or two people will get interested and they'll get really into crypto. And once they realize what it is, then those people tell other people and those people tell other people. And maybe, 10 people will say, oh, it's a scam, it's stupid, but you can't stop that network effect. And that network effect is magnified by the fact that we have the internet now. So the internet, and so that's 7.5 billion people that have potential to invest or learn about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. So I can say with 100% certainty that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are not going to go to zero. Maybe there's a couple scam coins that might end up going to zero, or maybe there's a couple altcoin projects that fail, because that's what they are, they're projects. And so they try to maybe make the next Bitcoin or make the next whatever, and they fail. And so that's not really it going to zero. That's just the project failing. But Bitcoin, I think because it has so much momentum and it's such a revolutionary technology, I can say with 100% certainty that there's no chance it will ever go to zero. Again, there's even scam coins that I know of that have crashed and burned, and they're still not at zero. So that would mean that every single person in the entire world that is into Bitcoin would have to completely give up on it for it to go to zero. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, people say stuff like, yeah, but what if there's an electromagnetic pulse and everything goes down? I go, we're going to have bigger problems than
yes.
You're not going to have access to your regular bank. You're not going to have access to your new car with Apple CarPlay. You're going to have nothing. Like you're going to, the lights are going to, and there's not going to be not stoplights. Like the power grid's going to go down.
But yes, if a meteor comes and a meteor that, wiped out the dinosaurs comes and explodes on Earth, yes, Bitcoin will not survive, but neither will anything else. So it won't matter.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be worried about where your cold wallet is if the meteor comes or there's no power and we've been plunged into the dark ages. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I keep hearing this too. And that's the other thing, like people are obviously Elon Musk still has sway. He can still manipulate the markets, but it feels like more people are waking up. I mean, a lot of the crypto shows that I watch 4 or 5 months ago, I was a little like, oh, because they kept going, Elon Musk is amazing. And they were a little younger or whatever. And they're like, he's so great. He's so great. I'm no, he's not. He's a billionaire. He's awful. He's an awful person. Yeah, his cars are cool, but he's awful. Just wait. And he did it. And they're all waking up to the fact that he's awful and he's a bad person.
Well, there was also, by the way, some talk that he might have been pressured by the U.S. government because he gets a lot of subsidies from the U.S. government for Tesla and for SpaceX. I'm not sure if you've ever talked about that, but he gets millions and millions of dollars in government subsidies for his programs, for his company. And so there was some pressure that BlackRock and other investors were telling him to lay off crypto because they're not in the crypto space and they see it as a threat to their business model. And so there was some talk, again, I don't know if this is a fact, but some talk that the U.S. government threatened to take away some of his green energy subsidies if he kept pushing Bitcoin.
Well, that makes me mad on so many other levels. First of all, why is the richest guy in the face of the earth getting our tax money to subsidize his fucking projects? Pay for it himself. This is a guy that could end homelessness overnight if he wanted to just put every homeless person in a home with health care, and he could
Graham, because he wants to go to Mars.
Yeah. Well, I'll shoot that thing out of the sky before I let that guy go to Mars.
Just like Jeff Bezos' yacht that needed a yacht.
Oh yeah, it's a yacht. I mean, you do need a support. I mean, to be honest, you do need a yacht for your yacht. I mean, if you are going to ride around in one yacht, Rosie, without a support yacht, you are a little bit of an animal. I hate to be so judgmental, but
hashtag real world problems.
Yes. No support yachts is probably the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it's literally like drinking your own urine, but we're not here to talk about yachts. It is, these people are offensive. The fact that they're getting government subsidies, which to all of our viewers, that means your tax dollars are going to pay for a billionaire to build rocket ships so other billionaires can leave this planet after they've ruined it. So, Elon Musk, if the government did pressure him, whatever, it just shows the whole system is corrupt, and
I just want everyone to know that this is how revolutionary Bitcoin and crypto is. The US government is really scared. Wall Street is really scared to the point where they're threatening billionaires. So I just think that it's really important that people do their research, because so many people will parrot talking points from Elizabeth Warren. So many people will parrot talking points I've heard on MSNBC or other, websites from the Nazarians or, whoever's on there, the talking heads that are on there that are not financially sound people. They're financial experts on MSNBC, but I mean, they're really not. If you listen to what they're saying, they're just hyping up Wall Street, and they're not really giving any financial know-how or advice.
Which is what they do. I mean, that's what they do. They push Wall Street because Wall Street, look, controls the media. It controls both political parties. You know, now, I mean, that's something I've been following on this show for a while. It controls Harvard and big educational institutions like that because, you know, the Harvard Foundation is worth billions of dollars. And so they have a lot of influence, and, you know, they pay people on the corporate media and people like Liz Warren to spew their nonsense because they're the ruling elites.
And the Ivy League colleges also get subsidies because they're educational, even though they're statistically shown to only educate the very top elite wealthiest people. They still get government subsidies. So again, your tax dollars and my tax dollars to send, you know, Wilfred III, you know, John Rothschild III to Harvard is they're taking our money to do that, and that's just criminal. That's criminal.
Yeah, it's
you know, I went to state school.
Yeah, so did I. And I went to public school and I went to state college. So it's like,
me too.
Yeah, hooray. I mean, we're not part of the 1%. And I think the thing I always tell people on this show is I go, do your own research, and come to your own conclusion, and, you know, don't invest money you feel unsafe about. The number I hear is 5 to 10% of your assets. So literally, if you got $500 in savings, buy $50 in Bitcoin and just hang on to it, you know,
hang on to it.
It'll keep going up because the ruling, they can't change it. And I always try to make, and this is another thing about Liz Warren, just drives me, was just as dumb as the Bill Maher thing. She's like, Dogecoin, Bitcoin. They're not, it's insane when people say they don't, that shows me that it's like saying when the internet first came out, there's these crazy websites with Nigerian lottery and Amazon and the DMV, and it's all crazy websites. It's like, no, each one is different. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. So,
the biggest coin that people always quote is the Come Rocket coin or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that one of these coins is a silly meme coin, and the other coin could revolutionize the entire financial system for the poor and middle class.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's the internet. You can go to, you know, research libraries, and it's the most amazing research tool on the planet. And then you can also get porn on it. So should we get rid of the internet? I mean, like, there's bad actors, there's child pornography, there's all awful. There's the dark web. There's just evil shit on the internet. So should we shut it all down? And also, Liz Warren, do you know how much power is used for the internet? Should we get rid of that? Like, I mean, it's mind blowing how dumb and short sighted these arguments are.
It is. I want to give one more argument, which I gave last time, but just for listeners who maybe didn't see the other episode, is electricity usage needs to be controlled and monitored from the source, not the end product. So the miner doesn't need to be monitored. By using that logic that people say crypto mining is bad for the environment, you could say a Tesla, an electric car, is bad for the environment if you're using energy from a coal burning power plant. And so we need to change the way that we create electricity and have hydro and solar and wind, because that will change everything. So it doesn't matter how green a Bitcoin miner is. If it's coming from fossil fuels, it's not going to be green. So that has nothing to do with Bitcoin and nothing to do with crypto. And nobody talks about that.
No, not at all. Well, look, Elon Musk didn't talk about it in any of his tweets, that his gigawatt factory that he moved it out of California because he didn't want to pay taxes or pay his employees or whatever his crybaby billionaire bullshit was. He moved it to Texas for a tax break, and he has a gigawatt factory. And oh, by the way, Elon, I guess, just missed the fact that 19% of Texas's energy is from coal-powered power plants. Exactly. Is he going to shut down Is he going to shut down his factory?
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. So you could have a Nissan Leaf, and it would be not an energy efficient car if you're using that coal powered plant. So it's a way for them to shift the blame onto individuals instead of the government saying, hey, we need to clean up our mess and get rid of these coal power plants and regulate the environmental industries and the energy industries. There's a huge history in the US of avoiding regulating the dirty fuel energies, because there's so much money from that.
Yeah, it's insane. We are, I mean, every day is another insane day in America, listening to stuff like this. But in the long run, I haven't sold any of my Bitcoin, and the altcoins, you know, I tell people that altcoins aren't the same and Bitcoin are not the same. Altcoins, in my opinion, and what I've heard and read, they're more like stocks or small businesses. Like you say, some of those projects they could go out of business. They could, whatever, their doors can close. You can't do that with Bitcoin.
You can't shut down Bitcoin. It's the only truly decentralized
Yes.
coin.
You can't.
The other coins are partially decentralized.
They're partially decentralized. Bitcoin, you can't arrest the CEO. You can't shut down the servers. You can't seize the Bitcoin. You can't.
There is no CEO. It's us. You and I are CEOs of Bitcoin.
Yeah. So what are you going to arrest the tens of millions of people that own Bitcoin? Like, yeah. So it is, and having been paying attention this last year, I feel like, you know, I'm no longer a newbie. I'm like, you know, just finished.
You're like kind of an expert, Graham.
I don't know if I would use that term, but I feel more knowledgeable about it for sure. But more people seem to be paying attention, and more people are, and I think what's going to come out of this manipulation from Elon Musk and then Bill Maher and Liz Warren, and it's just coming on the heels of the Wall Street Bets thing with GameStop, as everyone's like, the kind of curtain's been pulled on everything, and way more people are going, it's bullshit, and they're not going to let the Elon Musks of the world manipulate Bitcoin as much, because every time it's dipped, there's been a buy and it's bounced off the dip. Like, all these people are buy in at these lower prices. And yeah, I haven't sold any. And my plan is, when these altcoins go up, I'm going to cash out and buy property on my altcoins and keep my Bitcoin for the long haul.
Yeah, I think the altcoins do have a really good use case. You know, I am bullish on a lot of altcoins. The most important thing is that the altcoin has a use case. So again, hashtag not financial advice, but some of these altcoins like Rocket and other ones, they have no use case. So what that means is there's really no purpose for them. They're just like a silly coin someone invented. But coins like Cardano, which and Tezos, which is a smart contract technology, you know, they're looking to actually create something new. And I think it's really amazing. You know, I know you mentioned that they're kind of like stocks, because if you are a normal person like you and me, and you're not worth millions, you don't pass what's called the accredited investor test. And so you're not allowed to get into a lot of early stage stocks. And again, you're allowed to gamble all of your money away. You're allowed to go to the casino. You're allowed to buy lottery tickets, but you're not allowed to invest in an asset that could grow. And the thing with these altcoins is that's what you're doing. You're getting because the SEC and the government didn't really understand what they were. They didn't regulate them quite as harshly yet. And so the average person like you and me has a chance to get into a technology that's a new technology that could be, you know, the next big thing. And so I think that's really amazing. And one of the amazing things about crypto is that you're not being, basically this accredited investor law is very, very corrupt. And it's how the rich get super rich and the rich get richer, because they're allowed access to these special deals where the average person is not.
Yeah. And that's really, you see, that piece of critical information is what, to me at least, reveals why these banks and these politicians, they don't want regular people to have financial power. They want us barely getting by, credit card debt.
You're not going to vote if you're stressed out of your mind, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Or you'll vote for, if you're probably not going to vote and they want low voter turnout. Or if you do vote, you're too busy you only have time to watch a little bit of the corporate media. Because to get real information, you have to dig through it. You have to go to the alternative media. You got to come to shows like this and all these crypto shows you and I talk about. You have to dig through that. And if you're busy, barely getting by, you have kids, you have a mortgage, you have rent, you have food, you're going to watch 20 minutes of headline news or Fox or CNN and go, all right, and see something on.
I guess it's bad for the environment.
Yeah, Liz Warren said it's bad, so I guess we're not going to buy Bitcoin. I'll just keep giving my money to the banks and earn, 0.5% in interest or whatever.
And they use that money for war. They actually use the U.S. dollar is actually a blood money.
Yeah. Yeah. It pays for blood money when we don't have healthcare. We always got money for war, but we can't seem to figure out how are we going to pay for all of these things.
We're funding the Israeli military while they, bomb innocent civilians, but we absolutely have no money if you have a headache or you're pregnant or you have a cut on your finger.
No, we got no money for that.
It's hilarious, but it's so sad.
It's insane. I mean, it sounds crazy when you say it out loud. Like, did you lose your job because of COVID and you're living on the street or in your car? Sorry, we got no money for that. But we got a new F-35 bomber. It's amazing. We can drop more bombs. We can blow the world up 50 times over now, which is so great. I'm so glad
we have drone bombs that
drone bombs, robot. Remotely. It's great. Robot drone bombs, which is fun. Yeah, you can't afford to get sick, but we've got robot drone bombs. So, well,
it sounds like a dystopian stand-up routine.
It is. I mean, it is. The fucking Terminator Comedy Club, the Skynet Laugh Club or whatever. Like, oh my God, it's brutal. So, but yeah, it is seeing what El Salvador did to kind of bring it full circle before you go here. Lets me go, oh, so for every one of these Elon Musk, Liz Warren, Bill Maher nonsense, they can try all they want, but if El Salvador makes it, and then all of Central America and South and other countries are going to do it, America is going to be the last one to do it because we're part of this banking mob. But all these other countries are going to do it. Someone like New Zealand or somebody's going to go, yep, here, and what's going to happen? Big businesses are going to go there. Like people are going to go, well, I'm going to go down there. Like, I mean, I can do this show anywhere. I can do this show anywhere in the world. And so I'll go to Costa
Rica. Let's go.
Let's do it. I'll go to Costa Rica. And then my Bitcoin's doing well down there and the cost of living is cheap and there's healthcare. And I could build a little TV movie studio. We could do a bunch of cool movies and TV shows in Costa Rica using our cryptocurrency to finance it. And then we don't have to deal with any of these corrupt Harvey Weinstein pedophile fuckheads in Hollywood.
It's actually really sad that some of these really underdeveloped countries have healthcare and we don't.
Yeah,
it's so
I know.
sad.
When people are like, America's the greatest country in the world, I'm always like, at what? What are we so great at? Like, where are we great? Because we're only good in the bad. We're not number one in education. We're not we're not the greatest. I don't know what you think. What is your definition of great? Just like the McDonald's value meal? Like we got the biggest sodas. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Monster trucks and morbid obesity. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like,
I think America has a lot of amazing people, but we're being misled by our government. So
absolutely.
I think the American people have a very good spirit, which, and I think the American people have a lot of soul, but I think that the policies that the U.S. government pushes is unfortunately very, very repressive and restrictive. And I think it's very sad because I think there's a lot of awesome Americans that are very smart and intelligent, and a lot of people are tired of this stuff.
Well, that's the thing is like people are realizing we've all been lied to, and we're not the greatest country in the world. And we could be
Yes.
America could be this amazing country that's like no homeless, free healthcare, free college, smart, innovative people. We're leading the world in innovation and technology. We're leading the world in peace. Like we should be the country we want to be. We think we are. Like we go around and like there's a dictator and we go, no, you don't get to do that. Sorry, your people get freedom. Instead, our CIA deposes the democratically elected
dictators in.
and puts a dictator in there because the dictator will give us their oil or resources or put a military base there or whatever. So it's like we gotta hope that Americans just keep waking up. And I have way more faith in the millennials and Gen Z because they are actively they weren't fed the traditional media the way our generation or older generation was. I mean, it's hard. I hate to say it, but it's hard for me to talk to some Gen Xers because I'm just like, they think Obama was great or whatever. And I'm just like, you guys don't pay attention. You just watch a half hour of MSNBC or CNN and think you know what you're talking about. And you don't,
It's really sad. But I really think that, El Salvador doing what they're doing is going to, and I said it a couple times in this podcast, but I think that it's the dominoes are going to fall because it just takes one country to take it really seriously. And I think it's going to be the developing countries because they have weak currencies, and they have actually the most to gain. America actually doesn't have that much to gain. We have a lot to lose. And I'm not saying we as me personally, I'm saying we as in our government system, because we're so tied to Wall Street. We're so tied to the traditional banking system. We're so tied to the International Monetary Fund and the central banks and the, European central banks and everything like that. So I think that America is going to be very resistant of crypto adoption, whereas some of these developing countries, they're tired. They're tired of being America's slave. They're tired of being indentured servitudes to the American financial system, to the central banking system of Europe and the US. And so they actually have the most to gain by adopting crypto and Bitcoin. And so I think we're gonna see a lot of adoption in developing countries, because they're like, hey, we're done. We're done with the USD. We're done with the petrodollar.
I think we're going to see, I totally agree. They have the most to gain, and it's why Bitcoin, the white paper was so revolutionary, because it saw all this. It saw the evils of the central banks and countries like America, specifically America, that is just strangling the world. And, every 10 to 15 years, we have to have a financial collapse. What a horrible system is that? Who said? And it was like, capitalism is great. Really? It has a built-in collapse in it? Wow. That seems pretty awful.
It has a built-in collapse so that the central bankers can print more money and redistribute that wealth to the rich. So the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Graham, hello, you're not paying attention. USA. So I'm hoping that, I agree too. When I heard about this 2 days ago about El Salvador, I was like, and all of these countries fall suit, there could be this renaissance in Central and South America, and you're going to start to see. There was an African country that's talking about using it. I think Nigeria was talking about using it. Yeah.
And I think that's the fact that El Salvador just did it. It's stamped, it's done, and it's going into effect in less than 3 months. These other countries are going to, and a couple years from now, you're going to have 10, 20, 30% of the world saying Bitcoin's our reserve currency, and America's going to be fumbling around with the Republican and Democrat morons.
You don't want our war money anymore?
Yeah. I know. We're going to be standing alone going, come on, we're going to try to threaten you. And we're going to go, no, you're not.
We're on Bitcoin now.
Sorry. What are you going to do? Take away? What are you going to take away from us?
Exactly.
It's like if you tell someone you're not working there anymore and they're like, I'm going to fire you. And I said, I already told you I'm quitting at the end of the week. So what are you going to do?
I think it's going to be really amazing, Graham. And I'm really excited. I'm really proud of the president of El Salvador. And I'm very disappointed in the mainstream media. Nobody has covered this story. Nobody. I found out on Twitter. Nobody has covered the story. And that is crazy. A country just said that they're taking an alternative form of currency that was just invented 10 years ago as their reserve currency, or not a reserve currency, but as a legal tender. And nobody has covered it.
Nobody. It's insane. Well, Rosie, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show tonight. Tell everybody where they can follow you, and you've got your podcasts and all that stuff.
I do. I have an awesome podcast called Out of the Box. I'm newly to Rockfin, and thanks to Graham, I have a couple followers, but I would love for you guys to follow me on Rockfin. I'm Rosie Tran, Tran, at Rockfin, on Rockfin, and on Instagram, I'm Out of the Box Rosie. But most of my comedy and out of the box stuff, and my podcast is not a political podcast, but I interview all out of the box thinkers, so alternative thinkers, people in finance, religion, science, anyone who has a different way of thinking. And just because I have someone on my podcast doesn't mean I agree with them, but I just like bringing a different point of view so that people can hear something that's not the mainstream, nonsense.
Folks, it's another reason to sign up at Rockfin, because if you do the Rockfin Premium, you're not only getting my premium, but you're getting Rosie's and Jimmy Dore and Abby Martin and Whitney Webb and on, all these great people. You're supporting blockchain. It's blockchain. They pay us in cryptocurrency. And you're also saying no to part of the central banking and the corporate media. Google, which owns YouTube, is a part of that. I'm in my 4th month of being demonetized. I have a copyright strike against me for a video I did a year ago. They've pulled videos of mine recently where I just said Bill Gates should release the COVID vaccine patent to third world countries because he doesn't want to do that because he's a rich asshole. That was called medical misinformation. So that's another reason to support Rockfin and crypto, and get involved and learn and become knowledgeable about crypto, because it empowers you against all of these big institutions that are throttling us, censoring us, lying to us, propagandizing us. And so Rockfin is a great place to start.
I do not support YouTube as well. I have a comedy account, which is my big account. And then I just started putting my podcast on YouTube. And they said I didn't have enough followers to monetize me, which is fine. But then they started putting ads on my videos. So they're collecting money on my videos, but I'm not.
Yep, that's what they're doing to me. And I used to tell my audience, don't click skip ad because I don't get paid. Now skip the ads, don't watch the videos, don't watch it.
So they're saying Graham Elwood's videos are too offensive to monetize and my videos are too small to monetize, yet they're monetizing them.
Yes, somebody's making money, but not us for our content.
So please go on Rockfin.
Yeah, go to Rockfin where they actually pay content creators for your content. It's crazy. It's an insane concept.
No, they're communist.
They're dirty communists.
Dirty commies paying people for the work they created. I don't think so.
Oh, it sounds gross. Paying people for what they're worth. Ugh, gross. Well, Rosie, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's always great to have you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Graham.
All right, bye-bye. Rosie Tran, everybody. Oh, it's always great having her on the show. Thank you so much. Let me read the Rockfin. Great way to support the show is go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. And for watching, everybody, please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at grahamelwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.